San Francisco, and I thought, no, it's too soon. I had second thoughts 3 hours into the air. What was I going back to? Where was I leaving? I've been kind of dating someone much younger than myself. She'd said, when we first met, I thought you were creepy, a 38-year-old man hitting on a 24-year-old. But you're not creepy, you're nice. But I was creepy, and she was beautiful. Have you noticed, when you're in love, the sound of the person talking is like a stream. And when you're really in love, it's like you've taken mushrooms, and you're lying on a large branch above the river. It was the beginning of May. I wasn't in love. I was tunneling down a mountainside, grasping for roots sticking horizontally from the earth. In the chute, it was clear I had to stop traveling. I had to choose a place and sit in that spot for 6 months to a year. Before that, I was walking with my roommate above the park. Dolores Park was perfect, grass like gold. I explained everything as we climbed the stairways built into the side of the hill looking for his old car, a BMW he bought for $500. The power steering didn't work. There was no AC. The windows didn't roll down. We got in one door and out the other. The stereo was fantastic, and I was surprised no one had removed it with a crowbar. As we drove past the inlet bordering the 101 toward the airport, listening to Neil Young's Tonight's the Night, when it was over, when it's over, losing your mind is just a story to tell. July 30th, 2010. Subject, a taxi in Syria. The thing about sex work is it's work. The thing about your body is it's your body. You could say the majority of sex workers come from broken homes or had abusive parents or worse. I'm not talking about statistics. The majority of McDonald's employees didn't go to Harvard. In fact, a disproportionate number of minimum wage employees did not go to Ivy League schools. At an open mic, a man said he wasn't a sex worker, but he had been seeing an escort for the past 20 or 30 years, and he decided not to tell his wife. A woman said she wasn't the woman in the picture, and she was nervous when she showed up at her door. At a lecture on art and violence, a woman said she wasn't worried anymore about media attention or larger audiences for her work. She was interested in creating art for her community. She was post-recognition. She had decided this isn't for them, this is for us. The conference in Vegas was like life sped up. I feel like I had every kind of relationship while I was there. I felt jealous and thought maybe I was in love. And I didn't feel like playing poker. Lord, the streets were hot and open, and it never really cooled down, even at night. Inside, the air conditioning was too high, and the showers were too strong, and there were no recycling bins, and I thought, it doesn't matter if we recycle in San Francisco if we don't recycle in Las Vegas. They say Las Vegas is a mirror for America, and that's true in some ways. It mirrors our optimism, and it mirrors our greed. Mostly, it mirrors our hypocrisy. Overall, as a country, I think we're better than Vegas. More caring, less corrupt, more sustainable, more forgiving, more virtuous, even on our worst days. I'm not sure how to talk about this in a way that makes sense. I keep imagining small mushroom clouds billowing from the slot machines, games of chance named after the Tokyo firebombing, the Holocaust, the terror famine, the slave trade, shock and awe. For me, it starts in the pool. One person is pale and burning, blocking his eyes. There's a woman squeezing the water from her hair, which is black as oil. She explains the rules of her relationships and looks at him the way a mother looks at a child, already forgiving. He walks her back to her room and follows her inside. There's a half-eaten watermelon on the counter, a container of juice, vitamins. She lays down and pats the bed next to her, then lays her legs across him. Last one, July 5th, 2010, subject, Peter Pan. What happens when Peter Pan only kind of grows up? Instead of having children, getting a job, owning property, he and Wendy join an artist co-op. The people living in the co-op all have shadows sewn to their feet, and they've been there a long time. Studio space is rarely available. The artists cook on hot plates with their doors open. The hallways are filled with paintings and sculptures. The bathrooms are shared. Some of the lofts don't have running water, but it doesn't seem to matter. Some of the artists have dogs. Many of the artists have lived in the building more than 20 years. some almost 40. Peter Pan is older too. He still wears his green outfit, but it's not as bright. It's the color of grass when there hasn't been a rain in a while. He's still thin, but he's no longer taut. He's relatively happy, but there are bags under his eyes. Peter and Wendy went through a period of seeing other people, fairy tale polyamory, but they gave up on that. They settled on each other. The children Wendy used to tell stories to, and Peter's lost boys, have become adults. Never Never Land, it turns out, was just one more way of looking at America's melting pot of dreams. One of the children became a Republican state senator. Another runs an internet porn company. One is gay and married in San Francisco with an adopted child. One joined the civilian militia guarding the Arizona border. The rest live in middle Never Never Land. Homeowners, taxpayers, voters. The gay child sends Peter and Wendy a card every year with a picture of his son. The kid is as dark as a blueberry. The others are not in touch. Wendy cut her hair short. Sometimes she uses the Wi-Fi at the cafe across the street. She spends a lot of time on Facebook, but doesn't understand Twitter and doesn't want to. Peter is unpredictable, self-involved, but solid in the ways that matter most. When Wendy went in for her operation, Peter brought her flowers to the hospital and sang her to sleep. He's still more comfortable in groups than intimate conversations. Sometimes he stares out the window. Sometimes they don't talk for days. They have no walls in their loft. His desk faces one way, hers the other. They attend the meetings and draw water from an industrial sink, wheeling it back to the studio in a shopping cart. Wendy works part-time at the Queer Youth Outreach Network. Peter performs at fundraising events for male sex workers at the CSC. They keep their expenses low. One day, Peter says, "I could have done more, but I could have done a lot less." One day, Wendy says, "You promised we'd never grow up, but I didn't understand what that meant." Peter stands in his faded outfit, hat tipped, tights hiding varicose veins, neither reaching out nor pulling away. Yeah.